Impact of laws and policies on teachers' day-to-day activities. I will be talking about a school in South Korea where I work. It is an international school that serves students from K through 12. The laws and policies I will be discussing are the anti-corruption law, an air quality policy, and the language policy. The anti-corruption law was recently introduced into South Korea. It started right now in September 28th. It is called the Anti-Corruption and Bribery Prohibition Act. It has a common name, which is Kim Yoon-ran Act, because of the former Anti-Corruption and Civil Rights Commission. This law targets public officials, but in addition to that, it also targets teachers, journalists, and reporters. The law actually says that the mere act of giving a gift or buying a meal could amount to a punishable crime. There is a rule called the 3 to 5 to 10 rule, and it indicates how much is the maximum amount of money that could be invested in a gift to anyone in the target population. That would be, changing it to dollars, approximately $30 for any gift, $50 for any meals, $100 for any cash gifts, but these are only for funerals and weddings. The penalty is a maximum of 2 years in prison or a fine up to about $20,000. There are about 4 million people in the country being affected by this law. How has this anti-corruption law impacted teachers? I believe that it has created a lot of confusion. In our school, the authorities have decided that while they figure out the details, and in the meantime, because they are trying to discuss this with their contacts in the Ministry of Education, they have decided in the meantime that we should just not receive any gifts at all. So in the lower elementary, it has been a big deal. The local parents and students are feeling offended when teachers don't accept small gifts because we are talking about even rejecting a cup of coffee. So the fear of breaking the law in a foreign country has made teachers comply with what the school authorities have decided. And there has been a lot of work being done as far as outdoor activities. We have looked into the reorganization of outdoor education policies, field trips, athletic trips, because now any meal or snack provided previously to the teacher cannot be provided if the money comes from the parents. How has this impacted my own teaching? At this moment, it has only impacted me as a coach because I coach volleyball, and we have had to tell the parents that we can't receive their meals or their snacks when we are at away games, and it's an uncomfortable situation. The parents are aware of the law, but we all feel that there are some details that are not really explained. The second policy that I would like to look at is about the air quality in South Korea. When I arrived here, I looked into the more details about the air pollution in the country, and I wanted to show a little bit about this in the following video.
NASA has recently released a new study that shows air pollution patterns around the world over the last decade. The research shows changes in air pollution patterns are not random and are mostly related to human activity. Sun Jung-in has more.
Using new high-resolution global satellite maps of air quality indicators, NASA scientists analyzed trends in nitrogen dioxide levels around the world from 2005 to 2014. Nitrogen dioxide is a pollutant emitted by automobiles, power plants, and industrial activity. Compared to the map 10 years ago, China saw an increase of 20 to 50% of nitrogen dioxide, much of it occurring over the middle west of China due to the rising use of coal for power. Seoul had the joint fifth highest level of nitrogen dioxide. Only Beijing, Guangzhou, Tokyo, and Los Angeles had worse air quality than the South Korean capital. But on a brighter note, Seoul's concentration level has decreased by 15% over the last decade.
So with this brief introduction, I just wanted to show a little bit about how international teachers have to adjust to whatever is important in the country that now they're going to be living in. This was something very new to me. I come from a country in South America where air quality is not an issue. So I was very curious to see how the school treated this issue. The school uses the Comprehensive Air Quality Index, and this is established by the Ministry of Environment of South Korea. The whole school community receives communications of this policy, the one that I am showing in this table, and it is communicated through the school website and also by email. There are 4 main groups, and they show, depending on the particulate matter value that is being registered on a certain day, what is the quality of the air? And depending on that, which groups of people would be at risk and what does our school decide to do depending on where the student is. So in the first group of green, everything is okay. It is called good to moderate. There are no concerns and all the different parts of the school continue with a regular schedule. The first group that has a change would be the yellow group. It is called slightly bad and it is unhealthy for at-risk groups. The students that are included in this group are those with respiratory and cardiovascular problems. It says parent request because parents are the ones that inform the school about if their child has any respiratory disease or condition when they are first enrolled into school, or updates as many times as they can. In this case, we know that everyone can continue with a regular schedule, but decisions could be made for village school or elementary school to decide indoor recess for only those students. There could be a bad air quality description, which is unhealthy not for risk groups but for sensitive groups, so that's a different group of kids. It's a little wider, and there would be general irritation for everyone else. So everyone has to stay inside during recess and breaks. And the very unhealthy and hazardous air quality description, where everyone has to stay inside as well. I have not seen the worst one. I wanted to show here a communication by email that was sent out 9 days ago when we had the second, or the yellow group, which is called slightly bad. In this case, only the students that are at risk, those that have asthma and breathing concerns, they would have to stay indoors during recess and break. The emails that are sent out always have this link with names and full contact information of these kids. How does this impact teachers? I believe that it impacts the elementary level teachers the most, and the younger kid teachers, because they have to figure out how to separate these kids during recess, figure out a new schedule for the duties, who is going to supervise the kids that stay indoors, and then always the emotional and social aspect of asking one child to stay behind when the others are going to go out and play. In my teaching, these are not really issues, nor recess, no special duty scheduling, or emotional and social issues, because upper school students, which is where I work, don't really go outside during recess. They usually stay inside. They have many areas to go during breaks. However, as a new teacher, I do feel a little worried that I would need to really know exactly who is on that list. So I keep going back to it and making sure that I am looking out for them, and just that all the teachers let them know, hey, today, you can't go outside, so please stay in here, and that sort of information. My last policy that I wanted to show is probably the most important one for me at this moment as far as school policies, and it has to do with the language. In these international schools where English is the language of teaching, learning, and communication, there's a lot of day-to-day challenge with the use of the mother tongue. In my previous school, I spoke the local language, which was Spanish, so it was easy for me to understand what the kids were saying when they switched over in the hallway or during recess. Even in my classroom, if I heard them speaking in Spanish, but they were on task and explaining to each other a math problem, it would be okay. However, now that the mother tongue is Korean, it is so difficult for me, and it's been a big challenge to adjust to and to try to understand how to act around the kids and how to nicely and politely ask, please go back to the language of inclusion. There is also a section of our policy that talks about how the school supports the mother tongue and supports bilingualism. So the Korean classes that the kids receive are very, very important. The impact on my teaching, as I was mentioning, is now that I don't share the locals' mother tongue, asking the kids to use this language of inclusion, but more specifically, being aware of how using your mother tongue around international students who don't know this language is actually could be an act of bullying, and maybe the kids are being bullied in the hallways because of this. This has impacted me as a parent because my son has declared that he's being bullied in fourth grade, and the teacher and I are working our way around how to support him and the other students involved. He says that he feels very bad when the kids are looking at him and talking to him in Korean, although he asks them not to because he doesn't understand. So how language impacts teachers and day-to-day activities at a school that is bilingual is very tough. These were the three laws and policies that I wanted to look at, and I will show some of the sources that support my information. Thank you.